Welcome back to another in the Breaking Down a R1200 GS series. This time around, we're going to be taking off all the body panels from one of the bikes. Here I'm showing you underneath. This is a bolt that's been being used to hold on. In your motorcycle, you may see a twist plug, more like this, but plastic. So these metal twists screw into fittings on the back side. And then here I'm going to show you the inside of the other one that has the plastic twist on it. Doesn't focus there. You just pop that off and it comes right off. Once you have all the twist fasteners undone, there's a nipple and grommet setup. This one is unusual though. It's bolted in for some reason, which I didn't know. But since this panel's already broken, I just forced it off and it snapped the fitting off. I don't know if they do this on all of the motorcycles. My other GS that I ride daily is not like this, nor is any other GS I've ever seen. And you can see here, I'm going to show you that was bolted into the subframe there. And I've never seen that on any other GS. So I think that was just an anomaly for this one. This side is much more typical of how things work. With the two twists, the inner one that did have a bolt on it. There you can see the grommet for the nipple. When you're reassembling these, you always put a little bit of lube on there. You can use pretty much anything. I like to use just a, general purpose grease, and you don't need very much. Here I'm just taking the rondelles off because people lose those from time to time. So having a couple sitting around somewhere isn't a bad idea for, the odd customer that comes through the door. Once you have the two outer panels off, then you can start getting at the other panels that are inside the bike, or on the bike, excuse me. There's two metal ones on either side, aluminum on either side of the bike. There's two smaller plastic covers that are vaguely triangular shaped on either side of the bike. And then there's a kind of a T-shaped panel that goes on the tank and the beak, and that's the only other body panel. Once again, the ever-present T25 driver and a T30 for some of these fittings. I don't remember exactly which ones are which is unfortunate, but most of the body panels are T25s. That's a driver that I kind of keep with me all the time. But depending on who was the last person to work on your bike, those screws are really easy to lose. So they occasionally become T30s because that's more common. You can hear George banging on something in the background there. I don't know what he's saying, but I think I might have to turn the volume on that down for you. So this is a busy day in the shop back in November. And so there's just a little nub on that panel that fits up under the T panel across the tank. Then there's a fitting that screws into the side of the tank that has a clip on it for one of those parts, one of those side panels. That's also a bolt that helps secure the tank. So the tank's coming off in another video, so stick around for that. Here's one of the plastic triangular panels that's held on with two grommets and two nipples, things that you want to make sure you clean and lubricate because they're really easy to snap off. Not as easy as it used to be back in the old days, but certainly they come right off. So now I'm going to take the other side panel off here, and as you can see, I'm keeping all the screws together, putting them in this can so that they can go in a bag. Having a bag of nuts and bolts from your motorcycle is handy because, if like me, you're using this as a parts bike, then, you've got those parts sitting around and you know where they are and you know how to find them. And once you've done this enough, you start to identify which bolts go which. The GS is a little bit different than a lot of BMW motorcycles in that pretty much all these screws are the same length. An RT, the K bikes, all the screws are you're going to have 2 or 3 different lengths of screws. It makes it very easy to forget what goes where. And you can actually, if you put a long screw where a short one's supposed to be, you can damage the panels, crack them. So it's good to remember which ones go where. I must not have thought it was important to move the camera to see the other side, detaching the tank panel from the beak. Now it's not going to come off because it's secured by the gas cap assembly. So the gas cap has to come off. You can see this one had a special kind of tank bag mount that goes in. And what I'm doing, there's 6 bolts, and normally they're Torx, but in this case I have to use a Allen, I think it was a 4mm, to get some of those bolts off. So it's a combination of the T25 and the Allen to get that special fitting off. The tank bag was damaged, so I ended up throwing it all in the trash. But you can't take the panel off unless you remove the gas cap. And so that's what's coming off here. There's something very comforting about that ratchet sound, isn't there? Now, even though I threw the tank bag out, I kept this mount and the bolts that it uses and just put those in another bag and threw them in the crate with the rest of the parts, because you never know who's going to come in and have lost one of those screws or broken the end off of one of those mounts. So yeah, you got to unlock it and take it out using the ignition key to get that off. And don't forget those 3 little, oh, here we go. Just showing you the top of that. Got to save the key. Now, since I'm going to be using the ignition from this bike to in the computer repair on my motorcycle, I got to keep that gas cap because I'll have to replace the one on my motorcycle with it. And then that last body panel comes off. It left one of the rubber spacers behind, so make sure you hang on to all 3 of those spacers. Those are you can order them, but it just hurts to order stuff like that you can save. Everything else will take place in the next video where the tank comes off. So stick around for that one. And then on one of my other video channels, there's a video of watching all the paint dry, or the gas that I spilled because I didn't empty enough gas out of this tank before I started this process, and I made a huge mess in the shop. Come back for more. Like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff, and take it easy. Ride safe.